Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Talking Points. I'm your host, as usual, Syed Niaz Ahmed. With us today is a very distinguished person. She is a writer, a painter, an artist, a filmmaker, and a musician. Well, you would be excused for thinking that we have got four persons, but she's all four in one. Her name is Sanchita Islam. She is from Manchester, but presently she is out in the Far East. Welcome to the show, Sanchita. How are you today?
Oh, Paulo, thank you for inviting me.
Not at all. I know that there's such a bit of time difference of 8 hours, and it's rather early morning there in Malaysia. And we are about to enter the evening.
I'm a night owl, so it's okay.
Okay. You are into so many things, you see, and you have got a storehouse of talents, you see. But tell us something about yourself, your personal. You see, you were born here, I know, but how has life treated you, and how has the journey into arts and writing and filmmaking and painting has developed throughout this time?
Well, I was born in Manchester, and apparently when I was very small I was already drawing from a young age, and my parents let me be free, like they let me do my art, and my dad would buy me my art materials, and I would love to make art. And we also did music. My mother, she found a teacher to teach us Bengali folk songs, so I learned how to play the harmonium. And but then I went down the academic route, and I went to the London School of Economics, and I did my foundation course in art. But then I did comparative politics and international history at the London School of Economics. And but I was keeping up my art all the time. And then I got a Channel 4 scholarship to go to film school. I did my MA in directing and screenwriting. And then I worked in TV and did work on the South Bank show and various TV companies before started an art degree at Chelsea School of Art. But then I set up my company Pigment Explosion, and I dropped out in my second year, and I started to do international art projects which involved books, photography, film, art, and I was painting as well. And so in a nutshell, that's sort of like my journey, sort of compressed. And music started in my 40s. I remembered, it was very weird, I remembered some trauma, and then after remembering the trauma, I started to make music. I just started to make music, so I've made 600 pieces of music now. I've released 5 albums under Shonchi. I prefer to be called Shonchi now, not Sanchita, because Shonchi is my Bangla name.
Right.
And so I've released 5 albums. I've got another 3 albums that I'm going to release, and so now, you know, I make my music. I also make scrolls. This is the first scroll that I did. It's of the panoramic view of East London, and it's 30 foot long. So I specialize in scrolls, and I've done about, I think, 12 scrolls now. And I also love to do oil painting. This is Borishal, Bangladesh, where my stepfather was born. And I love the light. I was inspired by Vermeer. I wanted to create a painting that had the same qualities, just like the elevation of the mundane, and show.
Did you go to Borishal?
Yes, I went to Borishal to make my book, to do my book from Briarwood to Boroshall to Brick Lane.
Right.
And
You have a very impressive list. I mean, 10 books plus one, the recent book, 15
Yeah.
films, over 100 group shows, all compressed in a very short span of life.
yeah, and I've done animation as well. But my last film was about the Rohingya, because I read about the Rohingya crisis, and I was very disturbed by what was happening. So I sent a tweet out saying that I'm an artist and I want to help. And then ActionAid got in contact, and then the next thing I knew, I was at the camp, and I went to the camp and I made drawings of the Rohingya camp.
Right.
And I took photographs as well. The living conditions were hell, you know. And I met the women there, and they told me their stories, and they still haven't got justice, and it's terrible, like what's happened, that the Burmese army have got away with it. But they had incredible dignity, these women.
They're fighting against all the odds.
Yeah. This woman, her sons, they were taken away, and she hasn't seen them since. And she was so sad. It was really heartbreaking.
How would you describe their lives? I mean, I know that they are living in very close quarters to each other. The housing is not of good quality. What kind of life and what kind of food and what kind of education, medical facilities they are having? Hello, are you there?
It's hell. It's like so hot and it's crowded, but the people were really industrious. The thing is about the Rohingya is that they seem so like Bangladeshi people.
Yes.
I couldn't really see the difference, but they were trying to make a life for themselves, and they had incredible dignity. They were all dressed beautifully, and these children, they said that they just want shanty. They said now they have shanty because they're safe, because before they weren't safe.
Shanti is for peace.
Peace. But if you can see the drawing, you know, it's like, it's just really unbelievable how they live like that. And then when it rains, then there are mudslides,
Right.
and then everything is destroyed.
Then there are fires, see? Often there are fires.
Yeah. I made a song that accompanied the film, and I tried to do what I could, and I've made a big scroll and put paintings of the Rohingya. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I wanted them to be seen, like to really see their faces and the beauty and the dignity of the people that I met there.
Right. Well, as they say, every little helps, you see. I mean, your work will bring their case to the public eye. They will understand, they will appreciate. And also, I'm sure that it will be noticed by the international organizations. And if those who cannot go, because not everybody is allowed to go in there, and to come back with pictures and drawings. So you have done a wonderful job. You have told the world.
I went as a volunteer, and I gave all the photographs to ActionAid for free, and I said just use them to raise money for your organization. I did it with a happy heart, so I felt that I did something worthwhile. I mean, I've always been, like, I've painted the homeless in London, and when I was in Nepal, I painted this homeless man. So I've always been drawn to the marginalized. I don't know why. Maybe because I feel like an outsider, but I always see like real beauty and poetry in these people. and I give them some money, and I tell them, like, you know, that I'm an artist. Sometimes they don't understand, but often in London I've spoken to the homeless people and they've told me their stories, and then I've done their portrait. But as well as that, then I paint my family. So this is my son. So I paint my family as well, and I've drawn and painted my parents, because you don't see like Bangladeshi people depicted, and I feel it's important to tell our stories and to show us in art, because, you know, there aren't that many British Bangladeshis who go into the arts or go into music.
True.
But my work has now gone more into climate change. So I've been making like these sea paintings about climate change, and I've made also like paintings using leaves as well. Oh, oops! So much work.
What medium do you use generally?
I use oil. I use acrylic. I use inks. Yeah, and when I started to use leaves, the paintings over there, I'll just get it to show you. Yeah, I started to use plastic and leaves in my paintings, because I was thinking about climate change, and I collected hundreds of leaves. So I have lots of leaves now.
Any particular tree or various trees?
Just various trees. People must have thought that I was crazy. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm working on a new scroll which is all about the forest. And so that's my new scroll at the moment. And I showed my work at KLCC in Kuala Lumpur, and gave a talk there about mental health.
Are you planning to do some work on Bangladesh?
Yeah, I met somebody from Red Cross when I was working with the Rohingya, and she wants to do a project in Bangladesh. And I'm also up for doing a project in Ethiopia, Cambodia and Jordan, working with women there. So I'll hit February if I've got that project. But I'll be coming to London to do the book launch of my new book, The Tree People.
Yep. Is it about ecology?
It's about the tree people who nurture the land, and two dragons that want to destroy the tree world. It took me 27 years to finish it. And it's all, I did all the illustrations myself.
Right. Has it got text or just illustrations?
No, it's a story. It's got text. And it really took a long time. And the dragons destroy the tree world, but there's one survivor, Little Twig, who then has one seed left. And in the tree world, the tree person is born in a tree. So at the end, a new tree is created from this single seed.
And when we come back, we'll pick up the same book again and we'll talk about the tree people.
Okay.
Okay then?
Done.
Thank you for being with us. Don't go away. We'll need to have this short break. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking to our guest today, Sanchita Islam. As we said before, she is a writer, painter, filmmaker, musician, and an artist. She is explaining about her book, the new book. It's about to be released in London soon, The Tree People. It talks about trees and the people who are engaged in work on land, producing grains that are food for the people, trees that bear fruit for the people, and also other things. Yes, Sanchita?
Well, they're not people, they're the tree people.
The tree
So
people are the tree people.
They're actually descendant from trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are
So
the
you-
children of trees.
Yeah, so that, and they nurture the land.
Good.
Yeah, they nurture trees. But they're these dragons that are hell-bent on destroying the tree world because they don't like trees. They just want to have a world without trees. So they destroy the ancient tree, the most ancient tree in the tree world. And then Little Twig is put in jail because they thought that he was crazy because he said that the dragons are destroying the tree world, but nobody believed him.
Is it a book especially meant for children?
Well, and adults, because we are destroying our world. We're destroying it. So it's a book for children and adults. And I wrote the text by hand as well. So I'll come to London and do a book launch at Brick Lane Bookshop on Brick Lane. And the book is available in Malaysia at Silverfish. I did a limited print one because I want to minimize my carbon footprint. That's why I make scrolls, because they can be rolled up.
Right.
It doesn't incur a huge cost to transport my work.
Right.
But at the end, the tree world is restored. Yeah, because here
There's a happy ending.
there's a happy ending. Tree people survive in the end, and the dragons learn the error of their ways.
And they happily lived after.
Yeah, but it took me a long time, 27 years, and it's different from my other books. Like this book is a book of poetry, Eternal Pollution of a Dented Mind, about issues related to mental health. And then
You wrote a book about schizophrenics can be good mothers too. Something.
Yeah, because I had postpartum psychosis with both my children, and so I wrote about it, and it helped when I was breastfeeding to draw my children. So the book has my artwork, and it tells the story of how I dealt with postpartum psychosis.
What
So,
type of
yeah.
response did you get from people who read that book?
Yeah, I had a good response. I gave a talk at the House of Lords and the House of Commons, and I met with other people working in the field of maternal mental health, because a lot of women suffer from postnatal depression and prenatal depression,
Sure.
and some people have actually, died as a result of postpartum psychosis and harmed their children. So I wrote this book to shed light on the condition and help other mothers who maybe suffered like I did.
Have you followed it up with other publications or books or other work on this subject?
Well, I've written another book about mental health, and then I'm writing a new book called Living in a Painting, which is all about what's it like to be in my mind, and it has all my artwork. But this book, Dented, that's about my poetry. I can read the poem if you like.
Okay.
Shall I read the poem?
Yep.
Mental. Don't go all mental. Mental. But I'm mentally unsound. It says as much in my medical records. They don't get it. How can they? For these last months it feels as though I've been carrying 2 boulders on my shoulders, with a brick pressing down upon my brain, breathing air like mud, struggling to inch forward, but I remain in the same spot, sewn to this infested piece of ground, my creativity at a halt. I lie, preferring to sleep. This affliction robs me of everything. It steals the seconds, the minutes, the hours. The germs that breathe silently on the polished surface are multiplying in my head. Eggs are laid on clean white sheets by millions of greedy little bugs, and they crawl all over you in your sleep. You can't see the mental cancer as it spreads, as your brain succumbs day by day, eaten on the inside, and then slowly your eyes look like they've been scooped out and you're blind. What time is it? Do not know or care. When you think you have nothing left, the fresh weight that grows heavier pressing upon your bones melts like snow, and you are bare again, naked and shivering in the cold.
Great. I understand that your films and books that combine text and drawings have been funded by Arts Council, BBC, British Council, and Commonwealth Institute.
Yes, these are all the ones that were. This book was about women in refuges suffering from domestic violence. And
is this the about UK or generally the whole world?
UK, and this was about the old people in Brick Lane that were residing at St Hilda's. So I wanted to tell their stories before they passed away. This book was about poor kids in Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, and London. And this boy was in an orphanage in Dhaka. And then this book was about kids in from Somalia and Bengali kids on Brick Lane and the tensions between the two. And this one was an anthology from Barwood to Burshall to Brick Lane about the Bangladeshi diaspora. So it has like photographs and paintings of that I did from rooftops, and I love doing, like, this was in Sylhet. I just sat there and I drew, and I love to do the cityscapes. This was a cityscape. I just went on the roof and I drew. Yeah. So.
Talking about Brick Lane and the Bangladeshi diaspora, have you mentioned that a lot of people who initially came and lived in Brick Lane, roughed it out, have made it in their lives, and are some very well-known businessmen, and one or two of them are multi-millionaires?
I don't mix with those types of people. I like people in the slum.
No, you don't have to, but this is a fact that they made it. Yeah. They worked hard. They made it. Everybody is not the same. People have different goals and different ideas. You see, so
that's true.
They have made it in their lives. You see, this is. So I know one particular group. See, there 4 or 5 of them used to live in one room in Brick Lane. And today, they are multi-millionaires.
Oh, good for them.
Yes, so it's good for them because they worked hard to achieve that. See, well, some of us would like to print 6 books and be happy about it. See. So it's a difference of attitude and aptitude.
Yeah, this book is Bungi Blues. I tried to write the story loosely based on my childhood and my mother coming from Bangladesh to Manchester. So it was like my first novel. I wrote it when I was 23, I think. It was published much later. But yeah, no, I think people, the Bangladeshi diaspora, they work really hard, and wherever I've travelled around the world, I always see Bangladeshis. Like in Malaysia, there's lots of Bangladeshis,
yes.
And they work incredibly hard. And I if I hear someone speaking Bangla, I speak to them. There's a chap that sweeps the leaves, and I'll speak to him and tell my children to say Assalamu alaikum, Apne bhalo, Ami bhalo, just a little bit of Bangla, and they're so happy.
Yeah, it makes their day.
Yeah. But Bangladeshi people are supposed to be the happiest in the world. They just need some dal bhat, then they're happy, kushi.
True. True, true, true. Have you tried to have your books translated into Bengali, the books about, particularly about the Bangladesh?
This book has some Bangla translations because it had other writers, so there are some Bangla translations in this book. This was a view of Brick Lane, but this has all gone now because of development.
Right.
So I think it's really good that I made this scroll.
It's a part of history, yeah.
Of East London, because this is all gone. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it has gone now because of gentrification. I would unroll it, but my arms are not long enough.
Your arms are long enough, long.
Yeah. My scrolls are 30 foot long, so we need a very big camera to fit it in.
Right. And a very big wall to hang it on.
Yeah, but there's still like lack of representation of Bangladeshi artists in the UK, and I think that's really shocking. I've been doing art now since I was 3. I'm 48 now, so I've been doing it for 45 years.
Okay. Okay, Shanchi, we would like to take a break here, and when we come back, we would like to talk about some of your films. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much, viewers, for being with us, and I hope that you're enjoying the show as much as we have. We'll be back soon after this very short commercial break. Thank you. Welcome back. We were talking to our guest today, Sanchita Islam from Manchester, but right now she is out in the Far East. Sanchita, you wanted to let us have or enjoy some of your music.
Yes.
What would you like to play on your instrument? And please also, for the benefit of our viewers and those who are not into music very much, what is that instrument?
This is a Gibson electric guitar. I have 6 guitars now, so I play acoustic guitar, electric guitar, I've got a zither, harmonium, tabla, keyboard, and I think I can play because I've got long fingers.
Yes.
And I started the music quite late, you know, and so the first piece I'm going to do is called Blu-ray. I've performed in Berlin, London, Brussels, Malaysia, Nepal, and I was invited to perform in, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
And in Russia as well. So it's cool. So the first piece is called Blu-ray. I performed it in Brussels at L'Archiduke, and it's psychedelic. Then the next 2 pieces, I made them when I was quarantining in Kuala Lumpur in the hotel room, and they're about climate change because I was looking out the window and looking at the sky, and there was just so much pollution.
Right.
And then the final song is called Solitude, which is a duet with Stephen Fry. Well, Stephen Fry features in it.
Okay.
But I'll start.
Okay, go ahead. Right. Was that the end of the first one?
Yeah. Do you like that?
I said, was that the end of the first one?
Yeah, that's the end of the first one. Do you
Okay.
want a little break before the next one?
No, I was going to ask you about that, taking you back in your time. You went to Manchester University and then
No,
you
I went to the London School of Economics. But
Yeah.
I did my art foundation
Yes,
at
Manchester Metropolitan, and then
Yeah.
you came to do BSc in International History,
Yeah.
and then you did MSc in Comparative Politics. See, and I was wondering that why the path in comparative politics did not take you towards politics.
Well, I've written articles for the Huffington Post,
Uh-huh.
and I say I'm quite political as an artist
Uh-huh.
into like my beliefs.
Right.
And I think my education helped me to be a better writer
Yes.
and made me more analytical,
Of course.
like helped me to structure my thoughts, so it informed me as a writer.
Right.
And then in my work, because my work's international and I work in developing countries.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you like that? It was psychedelic.
Yes, it's very good. Let's talk about some of your other work, like films, because you haven't told us much about your films.
Yeah, I've made quite a few films. I made a film, fiction film on 16mm called Weak Bladder. And I've made animation called White Wall. So I had to do all of that by hand. And then there's films that have accompanied my books, like the book Hidden. I went to the refuge and I made a film about the women in the refuge. And then I made a film in Bangladesh, New York, and London for the book From Bridal to Borishal to Brick Lane. And my latest film is about the Rohingya, called Rohingya Lives Matters. It's on YouTube.
Well, your book about From Brick Lane to Borishal or something, isn't it? Or-
Yeah.
Yes. What do you talk about there?
It's about the Bangladesh diaspora, their experiences, their life experiences, and also my observations as a Bideshi, Bideshi means foreigner, going to Bangladesh and people not thinking that I'm Bangladeshi, but me trying to connect with the land. But I have a deep connection with Bangladesh. But I love going to the villages.
Yep, we all have, yes.
And depicting the village people in my film Mustard. That's just a film about the village people and their life.
Yep, we all have a great love and admiration and attachment to Bangladesh, but I have seen that there is a great desire from most of the people living in Bangladesh to get out of the place for whatever reasons, you see. And when we go back, we used to meet XYZ and YZX and all that, see. And when I hear them, oh no, they are in Malaysia, they are in Japan, they are in Australia, they are in, see, so most of the people that we knew, or their children, they are not there. And we are all spread over the world, maybe for pursuing different aims, see. But we have a very large number of people working overseas, living, and this diaspora is increasing and increasing and increasing. Did you observe that?
Yeah. I mean, my own family are part of the diaspora. They came over in search of a better life. There's a poem in From Briarwood to Burrishout to Brook Lane called Better Life. I think everybody's in search of a better life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's good to go back to Bangladesh and give something back. That's what I try to do with my work. Like, even though I was born in the UK and educated in London, I've got this urge to go back. Yeah. Now it's difficult because of COVID. I wanted to go back to the Rohingya camp, but they said I couldn't go back, so I was quite disappointed.
This is very, very noble, that we would like to go back to Bangladesh. We would like to contribute whatever we can in any which way that we can, see. But when we live abroad, far away from our own homelands, see, I always see that people, there's sort of a disconnect. There are marriages, there are intermarriages with different cultures, and then the children of the children of the children, they seem to forget the language. If you think of the Indians living in Africa, the only connection they seem to have with their own culture is through Bollywood films, you see.
Right. I prefer Satyajit Ray myself, Papa Panchali. But I found a teacher here in Kuala Lumpur, so she taught me the Bangla alphabet, ka, 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 cha, cha, bugu, ja, ja, nia. So she taught me how to read and write Bangla. So I've tried to pass on a little Bangla to my children.
That's very good move, yes.
Keeps the language alive.
Yes, we have to keep the language alive, the culture alive, and the love alive for Bangladesh and the Bangladeshi culture. Thank you, Sanchita, for giving your time and being awake throughout the evening and early hours of the morning. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead of you, and thank you for your time, thank you for your efforts, and it was a great show, and we hope that our viewers have enjoyed the show as much as we have in producing it. See you sometime, same channel, same day, again.
Good office.
Thank you.
Thank you.